Hi guys, very good afternoon to you. This is Ajay, and in this today the video we are going to actually talk about the Excel VBA, how to connect the Excel with the Outlook. And I have received an email last week from Ruchika, and this is what actually she has written. Hi Ajay, I'm sending you the Excel file and want you to help in making the VBA code so that it should automatically send the email to the list of managers on every 27th of the month. List has some repetitions and it should be sent only once. Thanks, regards, Ruchika. So thank you so much, Ruchika, for your question. And now guys, what exactly we want to do, I'm going to discuss this. So this is the data which I actually have received. Actually the data which I have received from her was some sort of this thing. Let me just create the sheet here. So basically there was no blank row. This is what actually I have received in the form of the data, right? And in this, now what we want to do is, here as you can see that I have the manager IDs here which are repeating. These are the manager IDs and their name, and we want to send the email to all these managers one by one, keeping one thing in mind, that if I have a repetition in the data, right, then that does not mean that this email should go thrice. For example, in the case of the Kim, right, because I have got this ID 3 times, and similarly for the Ajay, if we have the data coming twice, as you can see, so the email should not go twice. The email should go once, but with the condition that in the attachment, the data for, let's say for the Kim, it should be it should be only this much. Rest of the data should not actually get enclosed in the file, right? And similarly for the Ajay, the data should look like this, and for the rest, the data should look like this. So this is also something which we will have to take care of, right? And there is another thing which they want, that send this email on 27th of every month. How to set up the task scheduler. So this is also, I'm going to tell you that on every 27th, how you can automate this. So the VBA program is not going to wait for you, and you can simply just your file has to be, your system has to be on, and automatically the email is going to send. Right. So sending emails without repetition include the range for each manager separately in the form of attachment, which is going to, in the form of Excel attachment actually, which we are going to send, and this is the data which we are actually using it here. Okay, so now what actually we want to do is this is the original data. So, and to all of you who are watching my channel for the first time, let me just tell you that you need to click on the playlist, and here you will get the 207 videos on Excel VBA, MS Access and MS Access VBA. You can choose the category, whatever you basically want to have a look at. And the video which I have right now going to upload, this is going to be uploaded under the category called the connecting Outlook from Excel. Now we have already uploaded 10 videos on this, and trust me that these all videos actually I have just tried here to give you the solution every time you write me an email and I upload the video. So just do watch all these wonderful videos, right? They have talked a lot, and every video is unique, every video of its own kind, and there's no repetition. So this is going to be amazing. And this is also one of the very good question I have received so far. So now let us go ahead and let us try to do this. Now I have divided basically the entire section into, guys, 3 parts. In the first part, we are simply going to use some variables, and we are going to store these numbers. Okay, and we are going to add the workbook. We are going to save that workbook in our F drive, and there we are going to save this all information one by one. And then the second part will pick up those attachments, and we're going to send it to the managers, whatever the email ID you will have here, right? And the third part which we are going to discuss is that how to set this on the auto scheduler mode. Okay, so that on every 27th or every week, every day, whatever you want to do, you can do it. So let's go ahead and let's start. I have already prepared the code, so no need to worry. I'm not going to make this video really very long, because if I start actually writing the code, generally I always write the codes by myself, so it is going to be very lengthy. But we will I will explain you. The code is already there. The first and the second part is already there. Now before I go further, I want to give you the idea, guys, how we actually going to make this program, because this is very important for you, right? Now the first thing is that I have a challenge here, that the data keeps coming here again and again. First of all, this data has to be sorted by the manager ID. Remember, now I got the data in the sorted order, so I assume that your data will be sorted, dear subscriber. But in case if it is not sorted, then please, everybody who is watching this, or to all my lovely subscribers, I want to put the emphasis on this line, that please sort the data on the manager, because we want this data to be sorted. Otherwise the trick will not work, right? So now what I want to do is, you see that basically what I want is, I want to run this this loop basically just one for this complete manager for this manager Kim, and similarly the next time I want to run this loop again once for this Ajay, and then again I want to run this loop once for this Jayanti Palu, right? So here I have lot of IDs, so I want to segregate them. So what I will do, I will create the space, I will create the column here, okay? And before I do that, maybe you can do this afterwards. What you need to do is you need to actually insert the row here wherever the employee ID, the manager ID is changing. So this is what I'm going to do, okay? This is very important. And then you just do the change here as well and just insert the rows, and there we go, right? That's very simple. Next time if you add some more manager IDs, please keep keep this point in mind, that if you are adding some more data, this has to be go with the one blank, the row, okay? Now the next thing which we want to do here is that we want to put the if function here. So I'm simply going to use equals to this because that's my first cell, and now anytime I get the repetition, then I don't want to actually have this manager ID coming here. So what I'm going to do, I'm saying that if or I'm using, by the way, if you don't have any knowledge about the if or, please go ahead and watch the playlist having a name called if function, Excel if functions, right? You will understand. So we are saying that if you are equals to this upper value, which means B3 and B2, if they are equal, or the another reason that if the B3 is equals to space, this is I'm covering the actually the blank line which I have inserted. So any of the condition is going to be true because we are using if or, then I don't need anything. And if it is not true, then just get me this value, which is the value in the C3. So let me just select this. Now you just need to press enter. Okay, there we go. Now you see that we have got this, and I'm going to simply drag the formula here. Now the beautiful thing about this function is, now though I never wanted to actually, this video is not all about the if function, but you see, you can see that the trick we are using here using the if function. So this is the added advantage to you guys, because you can see that if function works so wonderful, right? So now I've got all the unique IDs here basically, right? Now my idea is what? I want to run this loop from the second row, okay, up till this 21st row. So I'm going to find the last row, and I'm going to say that run this loop 2 to 21 times, so that we can cover all the whatever the data we have. And wherever you find the blank cell, just don't run the loop, okay? Go to the next loop, right? So in this way, this is going to run here, and then 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 here. That's it, right? We are going to make it dynamic because we are going to find out the last row. Now this is the loop. Now in the loop, what exactly we want to do? In the loop, the first part is that you have to capture the files, and you have to make the files in the form of Excel. So when I'm on this cell, I will check that corresponding the column B, what is the row number for that? Obviously the row number for this cell and this cell would be same. The only difference is the column. So we are going to say that start from the B2 and capture the last row of this. How are you going to capture the last row? Because we are going to run another loop here, and we are going to say that keep running this loop until you find the blank cell. The moment it finds the blank cell, the loop stops, and it is going to capture the last row. And if it is going to capture the last row, then obviously it is going to be the row number 5. So we are going to join this column G with the row number 5. So what will happen? Eventually you will have B2 to G5. And that is what I'm going to copy, and I'm going to paste it in the new workbook, and I'm going to save it in F drive or wherever you want to save. And then when we are going to run the email, we are going to add those emails, right? So let's go ahead and let's do it. This is really very good code, I must tell you. So now this is the Visual Basic. I click here, and in the module you can see that the code is already there. But I'm going to start it. I'm not going to really hush the situation. We are going to discuss this in great detail. Now guys, look at this. Let me just first of all close this, and let me make the window here, and let's declare everything on the top. I mean, let me just remove the dim so that we can have a more space. So you see that, let's start this. This is the first macro, okay? So what we are doing here is, now this is exactly the same thing I have done here. If you see that, this is exactly the same thing I have done here. So maybe I can do one thing to explain you, because I have created the sheet 3. Let me just change the sheet name here, which is going to be 3, right? Okay. Now see this, guys. I have declared some variables: first row, last row, first cell, and last cell, and there is another variable to underscore find. it's 2 underscore find. Okay, now what exactly first row is and what exactly last row is, what is first cell and last cell and to find, we will just come to know about it. Okay, now if you ask me why I have declared it on the top, the reason is because I want to make them public variable, because we are going to use these variables in the another code which I have written here in this, the another macro which is called the sending email. So here I'm going to use those values, that is why I have declared them publicly, right? If you don't understand the difference between the local variable and the public variable, please go ahead and watch my videos on the variable, and don't forget to watch the playlist how to crack the VBA interviews. They have talked about this. All right, so declaring them means on the top that you can use them, you can carry forward their values. The scope of these variables actually we are going to make it very dynamic. They are not going to end with this macro which is ID. We can use them in some another macro also. All right, now let's go ahead and let's first of all run this. So I'm going to press F8. Now you see that let me also, or maybe I think watch is really not required here. Let me not just add any watch here. Let's just go. So this is going to declare index variable and sheet 3. I'm on the sheet 3 now. You see that I am saying here that for index equals to 2 to the range 810 lakh dot end xlf. This line range in 810 lakh dot end xlf dot row, this is going to give you the row number of the last row. This is simply a shortcut key of control up arrow. So I'm using the control up arrow from the 810 lakh. You can also record it in the macro editor and you can see. So why I'm doing that, it's very simple, as I was telling you, that to ensure that how many times we need to run this loop, right? So I've subtracted -1 from it, as you can see here. So 21 minus 1 will make it 20. So that means 2 to 20 we basically want to run this. Okay, so this is this much of the loop we are going to run. These many times we are going to run the loop. Now it started it. I deliberately use here index 2. Why? Because we will start from the 2. I have a header here and I don't need the header, right? So let's go ahead. Now the first important thing is how to capture the first row. Obviously we want to capture the first row, right? So here in this code, if you look at it, I'm selecting the column A to A. So in this column A to A, right? Now what exactly I want to find it out? What I want to find means using the control F. So you see that here I have declared a variable to find, which is this variable, and I'm saying that this has to be equals to this value, which means cells the row number 2 comma 1, which means you will get the first manager ID, which is 5 times 1. So we want to find this. We want to find this where? We want to find this in this column A, right? But before we do that, we want to see that if this is empty or not. If it is empty, then obviously we don't have to find it, right? Then we would like to go to the next blank cell, and then again, until we arrive at some the cell which has a value. So this condition I have written here: if to find is not equals to blank. If you are not blank, then go in the then mode. So obviously you are not blank because you are what? You are 5 times 1, which is the manager ID. So this is the line selection dot find. This is going to find this, right? So you can record the macro and you can see here. Remember, if you record the macro, by default you will get here Excel formula. You don't have to write the Excel formula. Change it to Excel values. Rest the code remains same. So basically what we are doing, we are finding the value which is this value in this column A to A. Let me press F8. Have a look here. Do you see that this cell gets selected? Right, you can see here it's not, it looks like that it is separate from the selection, that is white right in the background, but that is what we have selected. Now once we have selected, so that means this is your active cell. Now your Excel has found this value 11111, and it's on the A2 cell, so that becomes the active cell dot row, which is the row number 2. So first row variable which I have used here, now this is how I'm going to capture it, the first row, because I'm going to copy the data right from the B2, if you remember. So I got the row number here as 2, which is correct. Now this row number, because I know that my column will always start from the B, so what I did, I created another variable first cell, which you can see here, and what I did is with this first row I concatenated it, I joined it with the column B, because we want to capture the range from the B2. Okay, so this becomes what? This becomes B2. Simple. Now you got the first cell as B2, remember this B2 from where we are going to copy this, right? Now you're on this cell. Now I'm going to move this cell to the right side of the column. That is why I said that move one column from the active cell on the same row, and that is why I'm using 0. I hope you are aware of this, right? I have used it a lot in my those 207 videos, right? So you must be familiar with this. I hope it's a very simple line. Right now you're on this cell and we are moving one column here, and it is going to take you to the B2, right? Now in the B2 you already have got the first cell, which is B2. Now we need to get the last cell, which is a part of this range. And what is it? It is going to be the G5 or G2, G4, whatever you want to call it, right? So what I'm doing is here now I'm again adding one more loop. So you see that we are doing a lot of stuff here. It's not only about the outlook. We are running the loops, we are running the if conditions, we are running the loop inside the loop. That's wonderful, right? This is the bigger loop, if you know, right? For so here now I'm saying that do while active cell dot value not equals to blank. That means that keep on running this loop until you find the blank cell, right? So this will run, and here while running this loop I want to move one row down. So from this active cell now it is going to move one cell. You can see here that I have changed it to the B3. So again it is not a blank cell, so again the loop will run because we have put the criteria that you got to run it till you don't find the blank cell. So again it moves further. Now it is on this cell. Now again the loop will run, and this time you are on the blank cell. Now once you are on the blank cell, it means that now the next row would consist of a new manager ID. So you want to stop there. So now you see that active cell is now blank. So active cell is blank, then the criteria fails. The criteria fails, the loop is stopped. So if the loop is stopped, then what is the next thing you want to do? The next thing you want to do, capture the last row. So what is the last row of this active cell? Obviously you see that I'm on the 5th row, and this is what exactly it is saying. So my last row is now 5. So again I'm going to concatenate this G with the 5, right? I have written here G, $G and dollar. You can remove the dollar also. I mean, I have just written it, so I'm not going to remove it, but it is just to give the absolute referencing, right? But you can also write simply the G as well, like I have written here. So now what will happen, this G will concatenate, will join this with this, the last row, and it is going to make G5. So ultimately what happens now, we are able to capture this B2 to G5. Okay, so if you want to capture B2 to G5, you can further do that. I mean, you just need to move one cell up. Once your loop is done, then you will be fine with that. But I mean, that's not going to create any problem because it's just a blank row. Okay, now what is the next thing I want to do? Now the next thing I want to do is, look at this range. In the range, what is my first cell? B2. So if I have to write this line, I will write, how will I write? I will write like this: range B2 2, and then whatever the row I have, G5, right? This is how you write the range. I hope you know that. And this is how you select, or this is how you copy, right? So instead of now using these B2 and G5 directly, okay, what I'm doing is I'm simply actually creating the variables here. So this colon sign which I have written is, I have concatenated it with the first cell and the last cell, right? So now what is the good thing we are doing here is that the first cell, that it is B2. So it's a variable, right? So if it is a variable, then obviously you have made it dynamic. You are not going to write here directly the B2. And at the same time, if you know that the last cell is also going to capture us the last row number for this manager ID, which is 1111, right? So now let me just run this line, and then we will see what exactly we are going to do here. So let me press F8, and there we go. Do you see in the background, guys? Right, in the background you see that the range is copied. Wonderful, right? Why it is copied, you can see here. This is B2 and this is G5, right? So I have copied the entire syntax. Now what you want to do, let me show you. Let me just minimize it. Look at this, the line is captured. So what is the next thing we want to do? It's quite simple. Just add the new workbook. So workbooks.add is going to add the new workbook. Now the workbook is added, and I go in the range A2 and I'm going to paste the data there. The data is pasted. Now this workbook.activate means I'm going back to my that VBA code. So there we go. Now it is copied it. Now I know that I also need to add the header, obviously, and the header will remain same for every manager. So we are just simply writing here B1 to G1. So it is going to copy this. You see that it is copied. Again, I go to the next window. This is active window.activate.next. This means that the next workbook which you have opened here, that is going to be activated. So obviously it is B1 because we have just created it, and in the A1 now that is going to you can use selection.paste, special paste value, whatever you want to use it, right? Now to auto fitted, I select everything. This is control A, select cells dot select, and then you can give it a width, whatever width you want to give. Maybe I can give it a, let's say 14, and or maybe you can give it a 16, 17, whatever you want to give it, because I see that they are not properly sized. So let's just run this, and there we go. Now it looks great, right? So now this active workbook, which is, you can see here, it's book 1, right? So we're going to save it. I am going to save it in the E drive. Now with what name? That's again a very important part. Now do you remember this variable to find, which we used in the column A? You know, when we selected this column A, and there we found this to underscore find, you know, this is what exactly we found, right? And then we found its first row and the last row, and then we captured the data using this command, range, first cell and the last cell, right? So what I'm doing is I'm saving the attachment by that manager ID itself. So in the E drive, this is what I have written. If you have a different path, you write here different, and don't forget to attach it, join it with the extension .xlsx. Right? So I'm going to save this file. Now this file is already exists in the location, because I was telling you that I was running this code. So do you want to replace it? So I'll just say yes, I want to replace it. We can avoid these errors also. Just put the application.display alert equals to false in the top of the, you know, the VBA. I will write it down later. Now you see that the file is now from the book 1, it is changed to 11 11 and 1, 5 times 1 .xls. Now we want to close this, and this is true I have written to save the changes. We want to save the changes. Just close this, and there we go. Now once you have done all the things, what is the next thing, guys, you want to do? Now we have, you know, created the attachment. Now we will go to the next macro, and that is why I'm using the call send email, and this is what exactly it is. Now this is the macro, call send email. So it goes here. Now in this, I'm saying that this WB object is going to be this workbook. This is how we define the workbook, and this is what you know, is going to I'm going to define my worksheet. Dim WS as worksheet, set WS as, obviously I will have to change the name now, sheet 3. So this is how we defined it. So now WS is going to refer to the sheet 3. So in the code, wherever you want to write WS, you can write it WS simply, and it would mean that we are talking about the sheet 3, right? I may not have used this code anywhere. Maybe let me just check. I don't think I've used it, so maybe you really don't have to actually write it, right? You can start your code simply with this dim outlook as outlook.application. And this is the way we started, right? And there's another variable I have declared it, mail as mail item. Now if you guys have watched my all those 10 videos on the Outlook, you know that what I'm talking about. So basically we are declaring the objects. Now this is going to set up this Outlook as a new application, which means that in the background, you know, a new application is going to be signed, and this is how you define your OMail. Now OMail is a basically class in the, you know, Outlook, which we use to send out the emails. So whenever you want to send out the emails, you will have to use this class dim OMail as mail item, and then set OMail equals to Outlook, which is your Outlook application dot create item OL mail item, right? And remember, when I'm using this, I have already on my library in the tools reference, in this tool and reference, right? I'll cover that. So because we want to let this Excel VBA know that we are going to connect with the external application, which is, you know, the Outlook application, Microsoft another application. So we will have to use that reference. There's nothing new in this. Now you know that this with OMail. So now what I'm going to do, I'm going to send this email to whom? Whatever the value I have in this G column and the row number 2. Now you remember, guys, the first row, the value in the first row we captured using this cell. So it is 2, right? Now why we are able to use this first row? I haven't declared here anywhere the first row. So that is why I was telling you that, you know, it's when we use this first row on the top, we make it public, so you can use them in within the modules, and it is carry forwarded. So we have already calculated this first row here, if you remember, and that is why we were able to capture the B2 to, you know, whatever the range we have as a last row. So the same thing I'm going to do here. Now this time I have concatenated it with G. Why G? Because in the G column, you see that I have the manager email ID. The email ID is not written here, that's fine, but you can write the email ID and it will capture. So now it is going to capture what? It is going to capture the G2, because the row number is 2. So the value in this G will be, you see that the ID came and the comma 2 is coming. In the subject, what you want to write, you can write it. In the body, this is what I have written, because this is what exactly, you know, my subscriber has said that this is what the email should be drafted in this way. So this email would go in the body. You can see here I've just used the underscore. Underscore means at the end to go to the next line, right? If I start writing this in one line, trust me, it is going to be very difficult to read out. I can't even handle that, right? So to go to the next line, basically what we did is we created this underscore and we joined it with the next line. So that means this is in the continuation form, underscore in the last we used, right? VB new line, I hope you know that because I have used it a lot in the Outlook. For those who are watching my channel for the first time, guys, VB new line actually means that to insert the new line. So in the body of the email, hi all, there will be a one line, blank line, and then we will start writing this request you submit, you know, everything, this, and then you can also write your signatures here. You can again create one more line, that and VB new line, and then regards, you know, whatever you want to write, right? So this is the body. Now this is very important. I want to add the attachment. Which attachment I want to add? The same attachment which we have created in the E drive, right? So let me show you. In the E drive, you remember that we saved the file there in the E drive by adding a new workbook. So let me just go to this my E drive, and you can see here that this is what exactly is created, right? Now these are the previous written files. I can even delete them because we are going to create them again. Now this is the file which is created just 4 minutes back, right? Right now it's 15:16 and today is 1st of October, right? So we have got this file created. We want to attach it, and where is it? You know that it's in the E drive. So in the E drive, the file is this. How to get this file? I have made it the code dynamic, because here I'm saying the same variable to find, you know, what you wanted to find. If you remember in this code, when I selected this entire thing, what, you know, we found here is we found this ID, and this is what exactly I'm talking about right now. So this 111 is already there. I have just concatenated it with .xlsx because that is the extension. So in the attachment, this path will become E:/ and then 5 times 1.xlsx. So it is going to attach this file, right? Exactly this file. So there we go. Let me press F8. Now you see that attachment is add, and I'm going to run this .display. .display means that now a pop-up should come. If the code works fine, then the pop-up should come, and there we go. You can see that the pop-up is there. So let me just click there. Now look at this, guys. You see, hi all, everything is there, and request you to submit all the confirmation, whatever. So subject, this body is also written, and the attachment is also there, and of course to whom we are sending it, it is also written, and the subject is also written. Well, this is, I mean, we have done it a lot of times, so I really don't have to say much on that. But yes, the important thing is how we created a workbook and how we captured the first row and the last row. You know, that's very amazing, I guess. Would you like to save the changes? So let me just cancel it. Let me just keep it minimized. Now what is the next thing? You see, end with, ends up, it comes back to the original code, the first code. Let me just enter some space here. Now again, what is the next thing now you want to do? You remember, this is the code. This is the code we have written for. Let me maximize it if I can show you. This is a big code, right? For index equals to 2 to this value. Now you know that we have to go now to the third, because this is the third time, you know, the loop is going to run. So when the loop is going to run the third time, we have just run it once. So now the next, what is the next now? You see the index value, it is now 3, right? So now the third time the loop is running, and let me show you this Excel sheet as well. Now again, it is going to select the column A. You see that in the background, it has selected the column A. Now in the column A, what is the next value, guys? You see that index is 3 now, right? Because the loop is running third time. So in the cells command, the row number 3 and the column number 1, what is the value? You know that the third row is this and the column 1 is this. Okay, so what will be the next value? Obviously it is going to be blank. So let's see here, we got the blank. Now I'm saying that if you are blank, if you're not equals to blank, then go in the then mode. Otherwise, then simply go to the else mode, right? Because we don't want to find anything if you're blank. So end if. Now again, index becomes 4, and you know that in the fourth row again, in the fourth row and the first column, again we will have a blank value, which is this cell. So again it goes to this becomes false, and I'm going in the else end if. Next, and then again, what is the next value in the index? Now it is 5. So in the fifth row, do you have anything? No, again not. So that's fine. We don't want to run it, right? Now here comes the important part. Now look at this. What is the value in the, you know, this 6 cell? It is going to be 123056. So now let me see. There we go, guys. Look at this. Now the value is changed from 5 times, you know, this 1 to 123076, and this is what exactly now we need. So it falls on the then parameter. Now we are going to find this in this selection which we have already selected, column A. It's a simple control if when you select something, this is what the code gets generated. So we're going to find this. Now look at this. The moment I run this gets highlighted. Now once this gets highlighted, because Excel always search the things from the top, so you will always get to see this first, the first row, and this is what we are going to capture. Now for this becomes the active cell row, which is 6. So my first row is now getting selected. Now I got the 6 here. Now obviously to select this range, which is B6 to G, whatever the value I have, right, I will have to move this to the B. So what I did is another variable in the first cell, that I'm concatenating this B with the row, and it becomes what? It becomes B6, right? Now once you got on the B6, now from this active cell you will have to move here. So it moved here, you can see here, it selected this cell which is B6, you can see here B6. Now in the B6 I'm again going to run the loop, the same loop, do while active cell not equals to blank. So that this is going to run, and it is going to go to the next cell, and then again the loop is going to run, and again it is going to run. Now this time it finds the blank cell here, so the loop will not run, and ultimately I will capture this blank cell as my last row. So what is my last row? It is 8, and then I'm going to concatenate it with the this last row G. I'm going to concatenate with this G, and the cell becomes what? The cell becomes G8. So now what is your value which you want to copy? B6 to G8, right? So you see that in the background it is copied. Now once it is copied, now the next thing same. You need to add a new workbook. You got it added. You go to the A2. You paste the data there. Now you come back to the original workbook. You copy the data again in the background. The title B1 to G1, and then active window dot activate next means that we are going to now paste the the same data in the A1 cell of the new workbook, which is book 2. So I paste the value there. There we go. I selected the entire cells, and let's give them the column width 17. So now it is auto fit. You see in the background. Let me show you. Everything looks great. And now this we will have to save again in the E drive, having an extension called .xlsx, but with what name? To find the thing which you were finding it out. Obviously you were finding it out, this ID 123076. So it is going to save that, and you can see in the background the file is saved. Let's just close this. We don't need it now. Now let's go to the email part. Obviously we will have to email it. Now in the email part, this I have written here, so maybe you can simply write here sheet 3 dot select, or maybe I'm not going to remove this code now, otherwise I will have to reset the code, but that's fine. You write it or you don't write it, just ensure that you should be on the sheet 3. Okay, so there we go. Now Outlook application, again we are going to use it. Now you see that what is the value in the G? What is the first row? We capture the first row, this, remember? So what is the value in the G6? In the G6 the value is Ajay.Parmar, right? So that is what I'm going to use. Subject remains same, everything remains same. Attachment, again, what is you want to find in the E drive? Now this time I want to find this 123076.xlsx attachment, right? So look at this, how wonderfully we are using these variables. Now who says that it's always the local variables? You're using these public variables most of the time. You guys always use the local variables, and sometime in my training also I'm being asked that what would be the best example to understand that what is the significance of using this public variables. This is the best example. You're carry forwarding your values from one macro to the another macro, and they are we are using it. If you don't declare it on the top dim, and you declare all these variables inside this sub id, then trust me, whenever the macro is going to run on this send email by using this call word, they will lose their value, and you will have the error called variable not defined, right? So this is how. Now you see the mail is also displayed, and there we go, end sub, and I can show you here the email is also written here for this Ajay, right? Now the loop again, obviously this is finished. I come back to the next. Now what is the next value for the index? It's 7. Now in the 7, what we want to find it out, look at this. What is in the 7th row in the first column? Obviously in the first it's blank, right? So it goes to the else mode. Okay, and what is the next thing now? Again it is going to be again the blank, so again it false, it goes in the false parameter, else and if. Now let's capture here what is the next value. So now the next value is 5345353. This is the value, right? So This is again going to find this value. You see that we found this value. Once we found this value, we are going to check the row, active cell row, and we are going to store in the first row, and we are going to use this, concatenate this first row with this B, because we want to capture this B9. Your first cell becomes B9. Now from this cell I will move here because I want to go down. So here, from here I will start my loop. You see that the cell is moving in the Excel. It keeps on moving until it finds the blank cell. It finds the blank cell, the loop should stop, and there we go, the loop stopped. And now I'm going to capture the last row, which is going to be the row number 13. As you can see here, I'm the 13. So this 13 is now going to be concatenated with G, because I have my last column as G, right? So this is how we are actually using it. Okay, so again you see that the range is copied, we got the workbook added, and there we go. I come back, I selected this entire range, it is pasted, the cell size became 17, and the email, this is the attachment, the file is going to be saved as 5345353. I will close it. I can again, you know, go ahead and send this email like this, right? So let me just quickly hit on the F5 now, because I hope you understood the concept. So there we go. There we go. Wonderful. I think it's over. So you have all the files guys created with their, you know, the file names. This is wonderful, right? Now I want to tell you one more thing. In the beginning I was telling you that if, let's say, you run this code, right? So obviously your files are going to be saved in your F drive. The next time again, let's say if you change the data and but with the same manager IDs, because managers are obviously not going to change the company so soon, right? So you may expect some data variation, but data variation can be in terms of number of rows. You know, you may have extra rows, or maybe you may have some less rows, but ultimately the manager ID will remain same. So next time you will have the same, you will have this you know, kind of a problem. They will give you the prompt that this file already exists, because it is going to try to replace this file. So you will have a prompt coming out. For example, let me run this. Look at this. The moment I run this again, okay, it starts from the scratch now. There we go, there we go. So there we go. Look at this. There we go. Now the moment it is going to save, right, you see that this would come, obviously, because this file is already created by us. So in order to avoid this and to always ensure that it should always replace it without giving these prompts, you know, what you can do is you can, on the top of this window here, you can write application dot display alerts equals to false. Okay, and in the end of the code, just please ensure that you should be writing it, you know, you can write here at the end of the macro, of this macro, true. All right, now let me run this again. Let me close this book 7 and I'm going to run it again, and this time you will see that we will not see any such message. So let me just save, don't save this. All right, there we go guys. So I'm going to run this quickly. There we go. There we go. The workbook is added, the data is going to be copied, and now it is going to save. Now the moment it is going to save, look at this. Do you see that I didn't get any prompt? It has replaced the file, and that is the use of this, right? So this is now not going to ask you anything. This is the thing I wanted to tell you. Now this is so far looks good. I can pause the video. I mean, you can pause the video. I beg your pardon. I shouldn't be pausing the video, but you can pause the video and you can have a, you know, have a look on this entire code, and you can copy and paste it. Now let me just scroll it down. There we go. So this is another part of the code which you should be seeing from this workbook activate. You can pause the video again, and this is exactly the new code. That's it, right? Okay. Now this is fine. We have done our first part. We have seen that, you know, emails are going. Now what is the next thing you want to do? Now the next thing I want to do is that let's make this automated. Let's run this every time, every day, every week, whatever. The subscriber said that she wants to run it on 27. So what we need to do is now now there are many ways of doing it. I'll be telling you the simplest way. I have already discussed this in some another video also. I think I've written here somewhere how to send emails, I think automatically, or yeah, scheduling timer for emails. You can also, you know, watch this video after this. So what we are going to do is in your Windows, I'm not sure about the Mac, right? I'm talking about only the Microsoft. I'm a completely Microsoft guy, so I really don't have any knowledge about the Mac. But if you're using any window, if you're using, I'm using the window 10. So what you can do is you can in the control panel just go there and type in task scheduler, like what I'm going to tell you, right? You would get this option. Now you can also Google that where exactly is this task scheduler, and you will see the path. In every window, it comes little different. The path is actually comes different, right? So now let me this window would come. Let's just get rid of this. Yeah, now this page would come. Now this page would look same irrespective of your window, whatever you're using, right? Search for the task scheduler. I'm again repeating, guys. Go in the Google and find it. Where is this task scheduler in your Windows 7, Windows 8 or Windows 10, whatever you're using, Windows XP, right? This would be there. Now what you need to do is you need to create a basic task for this. Okay, let me just close this. Yeah, now click on this the create basic task. I click on this create basic task, and then the pop-up should come. Okay, create basic task. So I want to name it name it as let's say Ajay task. You can write whatever you want to. Add the description, please add the description, no problem in that. Go to the next. You want to run it daily, weekly, monthly. Now we want to run it monthly, right? So you keep option this monthly, right? But to show you, I will not like to keep this monthly. Let me just change it to the this daily part, right? But you can keep it a monthly as well. Next. Now when do you want to run on the daily basis? So today let's say I want to run this on maybe 33. Okay, 33 second, 1533. Right now my machine says is 1531. So 1533 and 11 second I want to run. What do you want to run? Recur every 1 day. So it means it is going to run every time, every day. Okay, provided your laptop or machine should be on, remember, right? So I'm keeping it 1533, which is after just 2 minutes from now. So just click on the next. Now start a program. Yes, I want to start a program. Which program you want to start? Just go to the browse and select that cell, select that the file. So my file is that this is 1.xlsm. okay, so what you need to do is now before you select this file, there is something which you need to do. Now how are you going to ensure that this macro should always run, right? So in order to do that, what we're going to do, because this scheduler can help you in opening this file, which you can open, which is 1.xlsm. But after opening it, what we are supposed to do, that is also very important. So what we are going to do is we're going to simply write here in this workbook, we're going to write here that whenever this workbook gets opened, right, you select this event workbook _ open from here, right? These are the basically self-triggered events. If you don't have any information about it, please go ahead and watch my videos on the events, right? So this means that whenever this workbook is going to be opened, there will be a macro which I'm going to write here, which should fire, and it is not going to actually wait for you. Okay, it is not going to wait for you. The file gets open and it is going to run. So this macro I'm going to write call ID. So the moment you run this macro, what will happen, this macro will run, and from here this call ID, you see that here we have already calling the email also. So all the 3 macros basically are going to be run like this. So let's just quickly save this. I'm going to close this file. It's on my desktop. I close this, and now what we need to do is I'm selecting this file, the same file where we have created this, and before I do that I want to just change the time as well. So let's just keep it maybe 34 and 11 second. Next, it is already done, you can see here. Next, and I click check mark here. This is I see this option in the window 10, but I'm not sure, maybe you require it or not, but I just want to ensure that this should be checked in, and the moment I click on the finish, this configure for I should change it to window 10. Okay, that's it. That's the reason I'm selecting it. Now everything is done. Just click on the refresh. It's not required, I believe, but still I'm just clicking, and let me close everything. Now you see that we don't have anything here. Okay, we don't have anything here, and now let's just wait for the time. The time is started now. I think after a couple of seconds I should be able to see my this 1.xlsm file. This is the file I'm talking about. This should automatically gets opened. Look at this, guys. The time we got it 15:34, and you know, whatever the 10 or 20 seconds I got it. Now this window you see here, that's due to some technical issue. I recently purchased this office, and somehow I think it needs some adjustments. But in your case, what should happen ideally, and you can also go ahead and watch the video which I was talking about, right? What would happen, this file will get open and this pop-up would not come. For some reasons, technical reasons, I'll still have to connect with the Microsoft with this. There is some, reason I'm not able to, basically it's giving the pop-up and I need to choose some format here, right? But in your case, what should happen, let me just press this something else and let's just cancel this out. Okay, in your case, this file is going to open itself as per the time you suggest, right? The moment this file run, now I'm going to open this. Suppose your task scheduler has opened this. Now what will happen when this is going to be open? Look at this, guys. I'm going to open this. This is the main thing you need to see. Okay, look at this. Macro is running. Do you see that? Macro is running, right? Look at this, guys. Look at this. Wow, amazing. It's running, yeah, because you have added everything in the workbook open event, right? So this is not going to wait for you, remember. All right, there we go. Everything is done and the mails are drafted. There we go. Now you can send them, right? Because subscriber said that she doesn't really want to send the email first. She want to give, get it displayed, and then user whoever is going to write it, he can have a look, and if you see that everything is perfect, then they're going to send it. So it should not send automatically. But if you want that the email should go automatically after doing a couple of testings, you think that the things are really working fine, then what you need to do is, in this email where we have written the code, let me go to the Alt F11 here, in the Outlook code, this is where we have written the code, dot display. Instead of this dot display, you just write here dot send, and the email will be sent. Remember, email will be sent, right? But I would say that first you give it a try on this display method, and once you are quite comfortable that every day we are sending it perfect and there is no problem coming out, you can change it back to the dot send option, right? So this is what exactly we have done, right? Now this is now this is also one of the method which you can use, right, which is a very simple method, right? There is another method, guys, which you can use, and yes, one thing more I want to tell you. If your system is not going to be on, then this macro will not run. Obviously you need a system on. Okay, so please ensure that whoever is going to do this daily or 27th every month, on the 27th the system has to be on, that machine from where it is going to run, right? This is the thing. And in my next video now, I will be also telling you that what if you want to send out this code to your teams, different teams. I will be talking about that part also, because you see, now obviously if let's say you want that this code should be anyone can run this code, so what you will do, you will send this file to everyone, okay, and then they can actually go ahead and keep these files on their desktop, and from there they can run it. But there is another way of doing it. You can also kind of made the kind of add-in here, like these are the the menu tabs. So you can create here a menu tab, and the person, when he clicks on here some sort of the button, that this gets automatically gets activated, the entire code gets activated in the background. So that is what I'm going to talk about in the next video. But for right now, I think this is enough, because the video is also long, and I hope this must have given you great learning as well today, right? And another thing which I wanted to cover is, I told you that this is all we have done in the early binding method. So ensure that you should be using the Outlook in the tools. I'm using 16.0 because this is 2016. If you have a 2013 Excel Outlook 2013, then you would see here 15.0. okay, so that is not really the worry point. The only thing is it should be on, right? So in my all the videos I have already explained how to get this on. You just need to drag it, you need to just scroll it down and see where is Microsoft Outlook library and just on it before you run this code, right? So that's it, guys, for now, and leave your comments and any thoughts. If you face any difficulty, as always, you can write it down, and I will get back to you on the same. So I will be back with some more exciting stuff. If you haven't subscribed to the channel, please do that, and you have a link on the right bottom corner, so just click there and be a part of this awesome learning. Thank you so much. I will be back very soon. Bye bye, take care.